Most people are pretty versed on habits, but today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more. We're going to be talking about habit loops, which is a topic much less covered and really understood. Because you see, studies show that roughly 23% of people that start new habits at the beginning of the year, only about 9% of them actually are consistent through December. And what's even crazier is research shows that it takes about 66 days on average to build a habit, but only 9 to 10 days for that habit to start breaking down if you stop reinforcing it. And honestly, that just explains a lot about what happens to people when they start. Because most people think building the habit is the hard part, but it's not. It's actually the maintenance that is the most difficult part. It's when the motivation disappears, when your life gets chaotic, when you miss a few days and your brain starts to negotiate with you about what you should and should not be doing. So today, Lisa and I are talking about this phase that nobody else is talking about and how habits quietly decay and stops people from getting and accomplishing the things that they want to do, enough that it's stopping them from permanently changing their life. But the good news is, if you're a fan of honest conversations about success and transformation and the kind that aren't polished, that aren't comfortable, and happen when nobody is watching, well, you're in the right place, because that's exactly what we do here at Habitual Growth. And the topic that we're going to be covering today is the one that impacts you no matter what you're trying to build in your life. But before you dive in, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button before your brain waits 9 more days and you just simply abandon that habit too. All right, let's dive in and understand what happens with habit loops. Back to the studio, Lisa. As always, it's great to see you. Today, we're actually going to play on what we talked about last time, but we're going to extend it a little bit. So we are still kind of in our series around taking personal responsibility, raising the floor, not the ceiling. Last week, we had actually talked about building habits and what it really takes. You and I were introduced to the concept of proven behaviors a couple of years ago, something that we've readily adopted. One of the topic I want to really focus on today is like what happens after you create a habit, because oftentimes, right, how it's portrayed in the world is let's go out, let's create a topic, let's create a habit. It's working well for us. And then all of a sudden it's like we don't do it for 2 weeks and then it just falls off and we have to restart. And so, we have a concept in habitual growth where it takes 70 days of consistency to build a habit. What happens after that? What happens to maintain it? What happens when you don't hit those thresholds of actually continuing to do that behavior so that it doesn't just fall away and people have to restart their habit or the behavior that they had worked so hard to instill in themselves in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things, and I think it depends on the level of change that you've created in this new habit. If it's a big change in your life and you hit the 70 days, you might feel like you've hit a cadence and you're good to go. And maybe it drops off your essential actions list because you view it as a proven behavior. But like most things, you need to cultivate and foster that new habit periodically and do check ins. And I think Andy Frisella talks a lot about this with 75 hard and mental discipline, and that it's something that you have to continuously work on because it's a skill that goes away. And so I think there are habits such as those that, you kind of have to remind yourself periodically, hey, where am I at? Am I still doing the things that I said I was going to do? Is it still part of my daily routine? And do those checks maybe indefinitely, maybe every quarter to make sure that you're still maintaining. And then I think there's some that are maybe small incremental changes. Let's call it like you start going to bed 30 minutes earlier every evening.
Mhm.
At some point, that becomes so ingrained in your routine that you don't need the check in because it was a 30-minute shift. It's part of your new routine. And you don't even ever think about it to know that it's different than it was before. So I think it depends on the level of habit of change that you're trying to create. And then those that maybe were harder, that's where I would build in the frequent check-ins, quarterly, monthly basis for a period of probably years to make sure that you are actively fostering that new habit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So kind of stepping all the way back, right? So on average, like research has shown, it takes 66 days to create a new habit or thought process, right? That's just doing the same activity every single day. Hence why we use the 70 days just to round up to a nice even number. But it only takes about 9 to 10 days on average for that habit to start to break down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, there is a wide variety just when it comes to how ingrained that habit is, how determined you are. Motivation usually gets things started. I know you like to talk about this, but on average, right, 23% of new habits are
started at the beginning of every new year, and only about 9% of anybody that starts that habit actually make it all the way through to the end of the year. So just think about it in that concept of how quickly a lot of this stuff breaks down. Simple habits, as an example, like you're talking about, even just going to bed 30 minutes earlier, that is a simple task for a lot of people to do. But the more simple it is, the faster it does break down. And so the check ins that you mentioned, having an accountability partner, tracking it to make sure, again, we talked about this last week, but making sure that you really do have transparency to the data. You know, the last time you went and worked out, you know, the last time you actually went to bed early. This is why we have a proven behavior list, because all of those bring your awareness up. They make sure, hey, I am number one serious about this habit, this behavior that I have constructed. I know it's working for me. And then two, just the clear understanding that when you look at that data, when you are actually checking that box, it is the maintenance that is ongoing basically for your entire life. I don't want to say that for everything, but like for me, working out, I try to work out 5, 6 days a week. I know when I don't do that, I can start to
Yeah.
feel it. It's like 2, 3 days, and I'm like, okay, I probably got to get back into that. That one I have to try less on. I've shared on this podcast a couple of times. Like I try to do a cold plunge once a week, and it's amazing. Like if I just don't have it written down, I just stop doing it. And so I
Yeah.
like every week I have to be very diligent. Okay, I'm gonna do it on this day, or I'm gonna put it on my calendar and remind myself so that it doesn't slip, because it is something that does work for me. But I am serious about keeping that going for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, and I think there is a level of how much you dislike your new habit or you don't like what the uncomfortableness, maybe that's a better word, which made me think, nobody really loves stepping into a freezing cold plunge.
Mhm.
Yes, you have benefits. You probably get to a place where you tolerate it or it's acceptable to some level. But for you, you're probably always going to have to keep it front of mind. And like you said, keep it on your list because of the level of uncomfortableness that goes along with doing that new habit. And then, like we talked about, some are going to be a little bit simpler because they're easily blended into your routine that you have now. They're incremental changes. They maybe aren't as outside of your comfort zone, just moderately for a period of time
Yeah.
until you get rolling.
Yeah, and that's where the term proven behavior really comes in. Is it's think about proven behaviors is that maintenance concept, right? So you have a habit, it's now ingrained, you want to do it, but you're not necessarily tracking it on a daily basis like you are a habit. So a proven behavior is something that does work for you. You see positivity in it, you want to keep it going, but it's not on your essential action list every single day. It's something that you just know you need to be doing to maintain, whether that's discipline, your thought processes, a certain behavior that works for you. And so you want to maintain it. So think about proven behaviors as that maintenance piece. And so, for us, it could be a variety of different things. We've got reading on there. I've got drinking water. These are smaller things, right? Because again, the more complex, the longer your habit will last. It's harder to decay in that 9 to 10 day period. But again, if you're not paying attention to it, if you don't have that awareness, if you're not putting the effort in, it's still going to fall away. And that's where typically proven behaviors tend to live for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really important when we're thinking about new habits, moving into proven behaviors, is be aware of the circumstances which put you at higher risk for falling off. So, if something becomes part of your daily routine at home, as long as you're in that environment at home, it's probably easier to continue to maintain and you have to think about it less. So, right. So I'm thinking about like my nutrition and tracking my protein and getting my water in. There is an ease at home because I'm in my normal routine. And so I have this amount of protein with breakfast, I'd have this snack, yada, yada, yada. But when I'm on the road traveling, it is much more of a conscious effort because what I normally eat isn't readily available. The meal times are different. Maybe I'm jet lagged, whatever it is. So I actually have to be more conscious of continuing that habit and or that proven behavior and actually put it on my essential actions list during periods where I know my environment has shifted significantly that I'm more likely to fall off from that habit.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice, because oftentimes we shift it over and we're like, oh, we don't really need to track it anymore, not realizing how detrimental those environments are, or the travel schedule can be, or whatever it is. And so once you're out of maybe that consistency, it's better to put it onto your essential action list, at least for that short term, so that you can find that. And then this does dovetail back into last week and what we had talked about, because accountability partners, like I love accountability partners. I think they're absolutely necessary, but at the same time, they don't always apply one to one for people. And so it's hard to say, hey, make sure I do this behavior versus it's on my list. I know I need to do this. I'm going to prioritize it at least for this short term. And then I'm going to raise my floor, right? Instead of lowering my ceiling, which is, even if I can't maybe take a cold plunge while I'm on the road, I can take a cold shower for a couple of minutes. Like, I've
Yeah.
established my minimum that we have talked
Yep.
about in the last couple of episodes as well.
Yep. Absolutely. You mentioned the accountability partner piece too, and I think it's important to call out how that shifts over when you're trying to build a habit versus when you've now moved something into a proven behavior. Because I think it's very well established that your chances of establishing a new habit are higher if you have someone to check in with, right? You track your progress, you have an accountability partner, you understand why you're doing something. All of those things increase the likelihood of success. Once people establish a new habit, they forget that having an accountability partner has equal value, and maybe it's not the same level of daily accountability, but again, maybe it's in certain environments you need to re-engage with that accountability partner, or maybe it's just monthly check-ins. Hey, we've moved past this daily check-in, now we're going to move to monthly check-ins. How are we both doing? Are we feeling good? Are there areas where we're slipping a little bit? Or just use them as an ad hoc resource of, okay, I have fallen off. Now it's been 4 days. Can you re-engage with me on a daily basis for a period of time so I can get back on the wagon and continue the new habit that I formed?
This is part of the habit loop, right? It's one thing to create a new habit, it's a whole different thing to maintain it. And you can't let your guard down, right? Just because you do something for 50 days, 70 days, 100 days doesn't mean it's going to be there into perpetuity. And if something works for you, one, you need to track it. Two, you need to figure out how you can keep it going. Keep that accountability partner, whether that's an app like Habitual Growth, whether that's an actual person that you're checking in with. Track it somewhere, look at the data. And then three, make sure that you are prioritizing it. You're not giving yourself, hey, I missed it on, 2, 3 days and it keeps going. If it misses one day, make sure you hit it on the second day. If you miss 2 days, make sure you hit it on the third day. Whatever you need to do, because decay is real and it happens very fast. And pretty soon you're back at square one. And we see this time and time again with people's personal resolutions that they start in January. And isn't the stat like 63% of people by mid-January just completely fall off and they abandon their goals
It's like
anyway?
90%. It's yeah,
Yeah.
we
And so we don't want that to happen to our audience. So make sure you are maintaining this in the right way. Habit loops are real. They're there for a reason. And now you've got a path and you've got some tactics to keep you going to make sure what you've worked so hard to put into your life and instill in yourself is something that is going to continue to serve you moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome session, Nate. Always
As
good to see
always.
you.
Yes, as well. We will do this again tomorrow. We're back in the studio. So, audience, thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, and of course, download the Habitual Growth app and start your own proven behaviors list to make sure that you are actually tracking the things that we are talking about here today. And with that, we've got another good topic tomorrow. So, Lise, I will see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nate.